It took me so long to figure out which printer I should buy, more time than I'd like to admit. But maybe I'm not alone in this feeling of feeling frozen and not sure what printer to buy from the hundreds of options that are out there. For me, I was looking for a printer which I could print quality prints on using thicker paper because I have a graphic design background and I wanted to design and print all of the wedding invitations and other print material for my wedding coming up in a few months. Finally, after lots of research and talking it out with my fiance, we agreed that the HP SmartTank Plus printer would be both a great printer for the print projects for our wedding, as well as a great printer to have at home. After reading the reviews that shared that the printer would work well with thicker cardstock, the main selling point was that the printer was designed to be very cost-effective with ink. The printer comes with a 2-year supply of ink, and the cost to buy new ink is quite low compared to the other printers. So we got this printer. I was having a great experience using it. I was so happy with the print quality on the 100-pound cover paper that I bought. And then after using it to print all of our wedding invites, I started running into some issues with the print quality, which seemed to be related to an issue that was happening with the cartridge. I will say, HP has done a great job of making it clear on how to run diagnostics, to troubleshoot and try to figure the stuff out on your own. I couldn't figure it out on my own though, and so I eventually contacted their support team who couldn't figure it out either. So they sent me a new printer to try out because I was still within the warranty period for replacements, which brings me to this very moment. I still absolutely love this printer. I had a great experience setting it up, super easy and kind of enjoyable. And I printed color prints on over 200 sheets of thick cardstock before I ran into any issues with the cartridge. So I'm pretty sure that once I set up this new printer, it's going to work great and I can continue to print the rest of the projects for our wedding. But since they did send me this new printer, and I know I was sort of lost when I was trying to figure out which one to buy, and I felt worried that it'd be complicated to set up and all of that, I figured this time around I could do a little unboxing to give you a behind the scenes around how to set this thing up. After that, I can show you what was going on with the print quality issues, and then we can test the new printer to see if the issues were fixed. So with that, let's unbox this new HP SmartTank printer. So this is what went down. HP sent me a completely new printer to replace the one I had, which wasn't working. It came with new ink and new cartridges and a bunch of packing material, which I used to pack up my old one with to send back. Inside the box was also a note, which led me to looking up how to set up the printer again online. In my first unboxing with the printer, they sent me printed instructions, which were incredibly easy to follow, but this time around, I followed along using a video. Also super straightforward. I definitely recommend following HP's step-by-step guide when it comes to setting up your printer, since I'm not really an expert, just your everyday person trying to get their at-home studio set up. The first step is to remove all of the tape and packing materials inside the printer, which is keeping it safe during transit. This includes the foam sheet that was in the scanner, as well as some cardboard that was inside the printer. And you really gotta get in there. Next, you close up the printer and plug it in. Since I was unboxing a replacement, I was instructed to keep the same cord I was using before, and you can see me taking it here from the old printer. Once it's plugged in, turn it on. The printer will instruct you through some steps like choosing the printer's language, and setting up the time, and then it will let you know when it's time to add the ink. The printer comes with 4 bottles of ink, including black, magenta, yellow, and cyan. I'm going to start with the black ink. To get the ink into the printer, you need to first take the cap off and pull the seal. The first time I unboxed this printer, I forgot to do that, and the ink wasn't coming out, and I was so confused. When you're ready, put the cap back on the bottle and open it from the top. You'll then put it on top of the ink holder, which has the black cap. You'll know you're doing it right when you start to hear the ink coming out and see it fill up in the holder. When it's done, take it off, close the cap, and immediately throw it away. Then you pretty much just repeat that process for the other bottles until they are all filled up. I honestly just love this about the printer. It will be very clear to see when we run out of ink because you can see it from the front, and to refill the ink will only cost about $15 per bottle every few years or so. I definitely recommend being very careful with this step and have a trash can nearby, since the ink could definitely stain really easily if it gets on anything. Once they're all filled up, close the printer and touch OK on the printer's screen. Next is to set up the print heads, which are also known as the cartridges. This part was probably the most challenging for me because you've really got to get in there, but overall, it's not too bad. To start, flip the orange plastic with the arrow on it in the direction it's pointing. Then, push down on the blue arrow, which will open up. Next, pull out the orange plastic piece and set it aside. When it comes to the cartridges, there will be 2 of them labeled with different colors. The first I am installing is the tricolor cartridge, which is color-coded purple. Pull the orange plastic piece out from the top and then the thinner plastic lining off from the bottom. Hold it carefully so you don't touch it anywhere where you just pulled the plastic off, and then insert it in the printer in the right spot. Repeat that process with the black cartridge as well and make sure they click into place. Push down on the blue arrow again, close the doors, and then you should hear the printer move around, which indicates that it recognizes the cartridges are in place and working. From there, you will need to go back online and follow the remainder of the instructions, which include helping you set up the Wi-Fi to connect the printer to your computer, as well as print test pages to test everything is working properly. And that's that. Not too bad at all. Then it was time for the real test, printing the same cards I was trying to print when the cartridges stopped working with my old printer. The prints came out perfect and the white lines were all gone finally, and I was so happy. Overall, this probably took me about 30 to 45 minutes to unbox and set up. Overall, I'm still so happy with this printer, and I'm glad my issue with the cartridge is no longer a thing. I love how easy this printer was to set up, and HP does make it easy for you to troubleshoot issues with the printer on your own before needing to contact their support team. I'm also super excited that the ink for this printer will last a long time. The cost to replace the ink is super cost effective, and that it prints on thicker cardstock. That one I was the most worried about, I think, with trying to figure out which printer to buy. Wanted to make sure it could print on that thicker paper, and it does great. I will say, I did get nervous I'd run into cartridge issues again, so I purchased the extended warranty for my replacement printer for $95. The warranty is set to last 3 years, which I think is a comfortable amount of time, and if I do run into another issue with the cartridge, I can get another replacement. The biggest challenge I've had with this printer so far was actually just getting in touch with HP's customer support team. In order to get my replacement printer and my extended warranty, I was in contact with the HP customer support team for like hours, both times. First time, I think I was on their chat for over 2 hours, and then the second time to set up the warranty, I think it was closer to 3 hours, and that was with both their chat and the phone, like on a phone call. So that was not the best experience, but they did eventually help set me up with what I needed, and the person that I was on the phone with did actually even call me back the next day to check in, which I thought was super nice. Since getting this printer, I did notice that the 651 model that I have was discontinued on the HP website. I'm not exactly sure when they discontinued it, but I believe it's still one of the more up-to-date models. I see now that they have a new model out. Looks like it's called the 7300 and 7000. And honestly, I don't get the naming of these printers. And I don't know about you, but it confuses me and it makes me even more anxious and like unsure around which printer to buy. Like, what do all these numbers even mean? So anyway, seriously, if you know anything about this, let us know in the comment section below. I would be super interested to learn more about that. Anyway, you should be able to buy this model of the printer still on places like Amazon, which is actually where I got my printer, or other similar places like Best Buy, which we also looked at getting a printer at Best Buy, and actually originally saw this model of this printer at Best Buy, which then eventually inspired us to look into it further, and we ended up ordering it on Amazon. That all to say, I'm sure getting the newest model would be the most up-to-date tech, which would also be something to seriously consider. All right, friends, I think that's going to wrap up the video for today. If anything changes with my printer, I'll definitely make sure to update you here in this video's description. If the cartridge acts up again, if the printer breaks, if I have issues with HP, like I'll make sure to update it in this video. And if you have any other follow-up questions as they relate to using this printer or like printing on this printer for craft projects, definitely drop me a note in the comment section below and I'll do my best to get back to you. If you're new to my channel, hello, I'm Alexa. I make videos here on YouTube, usually about design, careers in tech, and what it's like working and living remotely in San Diego, California. So if you're new and into any of those things, I would love for you to be a subscriber. That is going to be all for now though, and I do hope to see you in that next video. Bye.